It's no secret that the VA has had a rough 2024 with scandal after embarrassing scandal. And if you remember in my video a few months back, we talked about some drastic and radical change coming to the VA after all of these embarrassments. And this is exactly what is coming, but maybe even larger than what the VA or we anticipated. And as you remember, a few months back, we talked about in the wake of these embarrassments that the VA is going to experience some radical change, especially post-election. Well, radical just might be an understatement for what is coming.
What would you say you do here?
I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand it? What the hell is wrong with you people?
I'm Jordan Anderson with VAClaimsAcademy.com. Let's jump in. So over the past year or so, just on this channel, we talked about how, for instance, compensation and pension exams were happening reportedly in broom closets. The VA had to, answer for that. They had to answer for the bonus scandal where the executives of the VA were getting these bonuses for performance that should not have been triggered, despite the VA then having, budget concerns and, of course, the wait times for veterans getting their benefits getting longer and longer. You had where veterans' disability benefits questionnaires and medical evidence was being shredded, when that should have been in their VA claim. That came out. You had and this is all over the past year we're talking. You had where the separation bonuses, where, a military member was separated, they got a big bonus for separation, to where that was clawed back out of their VA disability paycheck to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars. So what does it look like when you enter in Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy as part of this, what's been labeled as the Department of Government Efficiency? Elon Musk, as you know, of course, known for buying Twitter, then turning it into X, but firing 80% of the staff of Twitter first before doing anything else. And, obviously they're still running operations. So what we're talking about here is potentially the most radical change to government agencies, potentially, maybe that we've seen, in a lifetime. This could be massive. And just to sort of cue this up, I want you to see this clip and listen very closely to what Vivek Ramaswamy says here about in terms of when they're talking about percentages.
I've never heard in all the, my whole life in Washington, anybody suggest that this is a process that could really be stalled or reversed. The process being the growth of the federal government, which is just inexorable because the purpose of the institution is to protect itself and expand. That's the
like a law of physics applied to this government.
Every institution exists to protect itself for its own benefit. That's its purpose. And it's demonstrable in its behavior. So, but it's so obvious, it's so overwhelming. It's the largest institution in human history. I've never heard anybody say, we have a shot of like lopping off 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, like
80%. Yeah.
That would change everything from our foreign policy to our economy to our culture. You really think that could happen?
Yeah, I think it could happen.
So you heard him say 80% right there. And it sounds like an arbitrary number, but remember, Elon actually, let go of 80% of the staff at Twitter. And this is important because these two individuals are billionaire entrepreneurs. What they're saying they want to do is bring an entrepreneur's approach to government agencies. Now, of course, I'm not 100th of the entrepreneur that they are, but kind of in that field, there's something called the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule. Very simply, it's a rule that says, hey, 80% of your headaches come from 20% of your clients. 80% of your profit comes from 20% of your clients. In this case, they're looking at 80% of the workforce of certain agencies, 80% of the things going on may in fact be waste or redundant, that the 20% of rock stars are actually holding this all up. Maybe if you've been a contractor in government work like I have, you kind of understand. There's kind of the one or two people in the shop that keep this whole thing alive and everyone else kind of cruises by. Now, why is this important with the VA in particular? Well, we talk about inefficiencies, right? I mean, the VA is pretty much synonymous with inefficiency. When you're looking at the appeals process where you can go have an appeal court take 7 years, some presumptive conditions taking just as long, if not longer, than normal claims. You have fully developed claims right now where the timeline is just as long as a non-fully developed claim. These are things that are real issues. And if there is drastic change, this is something that us veterans have actually kind of been asking for, right? We've been asking for radical change at the VA, maybe a change in leadership, maybe a change in system. And once it's kind of maybe on the precipice now, it's almost a little bit scary because we didn't even know it would be this drastic, or at least what we're hearing going into it. Now, what does this mean for VA benefits? Do we think that this is going to potentially reduce pay? Maybe our rating is going to continue to get harder to win? This is an interesting question, and really it depends on what your view is, whether you think this will happen or not. My point is this. Do you think that there is enough fraud, waste, and abuse at the VA to make a dramatic dent in the budget without drastically or reducing at all the payouts or the service levels to veterans? I think that a lot of people would say yes. There is enough of that waste and abuse to justify maybe a massive drawdown without even having to touch veteran benefits at all. And I think I'm in that camp as well. So these are incredibly interesting times. It looks like these two may be on a warpath, for government agencies. And I think the two major ones that stick out to me is the Department of Defense, which is also the largest employer in the nation, and the VA in terms of cleaning up, getting things more efficient. Now, whether they can actually do this or not, that's yet to be seen. But just the mindset going in of what seems like, I've never seen this in my lifetime. Let me know if you ever have in yours. I'll tell you what, if I was maybe the person who signed off on those checks to give the bonuses that shouldn't have, if I was a lot of people at the VA right now, I would kind of be looking left and right and sweating. Hey, am I going to be the remaining 20% or am I going to be gone? That is the type of, activity that we're looking at. Now, fellow vets, this is the point of this video. Have you ever had a period of time where this has been so important for us to give our feedback? Right now is the time to make your voices heard. Comment here on YouTube. If you have an X account, make your voice heard there. Retweet, things that you agree with in terms of what needs to change, what needs to improve. And also, make your voice heard about what you like. Do you like community care? Do you like the things that, what should we keep as well? But right now is the time, as you hear Elon Musk even asking people to weigh in, and he's asking we the people to sort of guide the direction of what things should be moving forward. I've never seen this before. I knew something big was coming, but I didn't even expect this level. For instance, me personally, I believe that one of the major issues, potentially number one, is the reasonable doubt clause that is essentially being ignored right now by the VA. What does this mean? We talked about it a couple of videos ago. If you have favorable evidence, but then maybe you're missing some evidence as well, and it's like a toss-up, maybe 50-50, the veteran is supposed to get the favorable rating every single time because they get the reasonable doubt. Right now, there are so many close call claims that are getting denied, and there's, like we said in the other video, this has actually gone all the way to the Supreme Court. So loads of things are happening at the exact same time. This is huge, fellow vets. Definitely share this video around. We need to give our input right now. Like the video if you found it useful, and sound off with your thoughts and recommendations of what you want to see moving forward down below. Cheers.